work and the speaking and the writing that I do, both at my school and for Connect Safely, is that most adults are afraid of what technology is doing to their kids, and they are unaware of the reality of how they're using technology, and they're afraid of that there isn't a fix, that something's broken about the way we use tech. They're paralyzed, so much so that some adults ban the use of devices in their classrooms or in their homes with their own children. And their biggest fears are that at the very best, their children are aloof and are disconnected from the real world. Or potentially it's a little worse and they're just alone and they're not socializing and they don't have good connections. Or at worst, they're completely addicted and they have no control over their own actions. What does this mean when they become adults? Will they continue to be addicted to their screens? Will this be what they look like day in and day out? Will they have good, solid relationships? Will they be productive citizens in society? And so when I'm brought in to either talk to our parents at my school or our teachers at my school or brought in by another district, I'm really there to get people to breathe and to give them a reality check and to let them know what kids are really doing and what they're really thinking. I surveyed a group of teachers just this week and asked them, what percentage of children do you think are worried about their screen use? And they said only 15% of kids could possibly think about that. Kids aren't worried about their screen use. Well, the reality is, in a Pew study that was released just last fall, 54% of kids said, I think and worry a little bit about my screen use. So our kids are thinking about this, and they're ready to talk about it with us. And we need to use that opportunity to really engage with them. I asked that same group of teachers, the parents who you talk to, how many of them do you think are really stressed out about how much screen time their children have? And they said, at least 80% of parents are super freaked out. The reality is, in an Annenberg study from 2017, only about 60% of parents are worried about their kids' tech use. So it's still more than half, but it isn't all of them. 40% are like, you know what, my kids are healthy, I'm not worried about this. And so we can engage with that 60%. The reality is that it's not as bad as we think it is. So let's look at the real data, the real statistics, and then design our actions based on that. Let's stop running away from this screen time issue. A study that was released by the University of Michigan found that it's not the amount of time that a child spends on a screen, it's about what they're doing when they're using a screen. That is a predictor of potential social and emotional problems, which is the part of the health of screen time and tech use that our parents and teachers are worried about. So we're afraid really that all screen time is this passive screen time where they have that blank look on their faces as they're scrolling through Instagram and they're really not connecting or engaging or learning. They're losing themselves. The truth is that there's a fix, right? What we want them to do is be using screen time actively. They can do that physically with active video games where they have the same benefits as they would with, taking a light jog or exercising. And there's the other type of active screen time is cognitive, and this is where they're engaging, creating, problem solving, connecting with other people, working through puzzles, maybe even talking to another person who's on the other side of the screen. These are the uses of screens that we want to actually encourage our kids to use. And we can do that. The most important thing that we can do for our parents of our children is to talk to them. Bring them to your school. Give them this information. If you have a hard time getting them to come just to talk about this, then couple it with something else. Have a public service announcement in the middle of intermission at the school play, because they're gonna come see their kid in the school play, right? Have a little information on the back of the program for the football game with tips. If you can't get them to come to you, go to them. Or send home materials. At Connect Safely, we have built this Parent's Guide to Education Technology, so you don't have to rewrite it. You can go to our website, print it out, and send it home, right? It's free. The second part of this is that we need to talk to our children. Remember I said 54% of them are thinking about this. Let's ask them, what are you thinking about? What are you worried about with your screen time? What do you want me to do to make you feel better about this? How is it that we can work together? And you can have those big presentations like that last slide showed, but you also need to give them an opportunity to talk to adults about the great things that they're doing on their devices. Like my students here who are presenting to adults from around campus who came to talk to them about their website research projects. The solution to the fears that we have around screen time is for us to communicate with our parents, with our colleagues and with our children. Thank you.